Hey FFL, this is Neil Brown from FFL Achievers, and in this segment, I want to go over the in-home because this is about 15% of the business getting good in the home, 80% is getting good on the phone, and 5% is getting good at the products. So the philosophy here is that we've already bought leads. We have set our schedule. We're calling for a full-time schedule Monday for Tuesday, Wednesday, 15 appointments minimum. We're calling on Thursday for Friday, Saturday. If you need money and you're broke, your back's up against the wall, you run Sunday. We established that if we buy 75 to 85 leads, we're going to book 15 appointments. If we're buying the T2s, which are the direct mailer final expense, we're going to buy less because we can book almost 80% of those. We have lined up our appointments every hour and a half. We've done it starting at 8:30, 10, 11:30, 1, 2:30, 4, 5:30, 7. And that's how you run 8 in a day. Eventually, you'll get good and you'll do it every hour, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, all the way through. You're looking for you're going to get several reschedules. You're going to get several no-shows, but you're going to sit down with 4 or 5, 6 people, and you're going to write. Let's say you only write 25% of those. You're still writing a couple apps a day. So now we're going to actually go in the home. And so the way we do it is, I tell people, hey, look, when I show up at your door, I'm going to be wearing my lanyard with my state license. I'm going to show you that lanyard. I'm required to do that. And you're going to read that it says Neil Brown. And so let's just take it. A couple of principles. Your meetings should be in and out in an hour or less. The only time I run over is that if I'm having trouble getting somebody insurance, like I have to go to Americo first. And then if they get denied the MIB and I pivot over to Prosperity second, I usually write it on Prosperity. It has an interactive app. The difference with Prosperity that I love is that number one, it's got an interactive app, so MIB, so it tells you what the problem is and why they're getting denied, where Americo only gives you like a thumbs up, thumbs down. I run everybody through Americo first when I get to that point because it's quick. It takes less than 5 minutes to run through the MIB. And then if they get rejected, when I pivot over to Prosperity, if they should go graded, which is 30%, of the face amount first year, 70% second year, it's full comp versus discounted. That's what I like about it. So a couple of principles: you should be in and out in less than an hour. I already said that. Number one. Number two, there's certain things that you need to have in the home. If you're nervous, they're going to be nervous. There's nothing wrong with telling them that you're brand new. That's part of the reason why you're going to call your product specialist towards the end of the meeting, because you are brand new. It gives them comfort knowing that there's a second opinion involved. And they like the transparency of you saying that you're new. You don't have to be an expert. They're like, oh, okay, they'll still do business with you. It's not a problem. You're not going to spend a bunch of time developing rapport. You're a field underwriter. You're going in to find out if they qualify. So when I show up, I knock on the door. Let's say I want to think of somebody that I recently underwrote because I want to make this thing real in my mind. So I bumped into a lady. She's from Hermitage. She now lives out, let's call her Brenda. She lives out in Dyersburg. And recently, she told me in spring that she had lost both of her sisters. So it's hard. It's hard during those times because it's real. And so anyways, I knock on the door. What do you say, Brenda? Hey, Brenda, I'm Neil Brown. I told you I'd show you my license. There's my license. And so I'm here for our appointment. Sorry, I'm running a couple minutes late. Okay, great. No, you know what, Brenda? I need a kitchen table because I have my iPad here. And so I need a table to put it on. So can we sit at your kitchen table? Okay, perfect. Okay, so Brenda, like I said, my name is Neil Brown. I am licensed with the state of Tennessee, and I've been trained by them and about 30 different carriers to do what we're going to do in the next 10 minutes. Okay, so there's our carriers. You can see some of the names you recognize: Mutual Omaha, John Hancock, AIG, Americo, Aetna. All the big guys are here, and they just they contract with me to be their eyes and ears and come out and do what we're going to do today. So Brenda, let me ask you a question. Hold on, let me get this. So this is what you filled out and mailed in to me, okay? And can you see your handwriting on there? Okay. So take a look at it. I'm going to hand that to her. So take a look at that. Now, my clients generally fall into one of three categories when they fill this out. Number one, they don't have insurance and they need some. Number two, they have a little, they want to add to it. Or number three, they want to leave a gift to either their kids or their grandkids. So can you tell me, like, what category do you fall into on those three? Number one? Okay. So Brenda, let me ask you, what prompted you to do something about it now? I mean, have you been procrastinating all this time, or did you get denied and you can't get it? Did you have something that lapsed? What was it? Okay, so in spring, both of your sisters died? Oh, I am so sorry. Gosh, that is tough. So is that why you're out here? Was this your mom's house or your sister? Okay, your sisters lived here. Okay, and your mom lives here too. So you moved from Hermitage out here to be with your mom. Man, it's tough bearing, I'm sure, her kids before she passes. Okay. So the situation was that your two sisters died. It kind of prompted you. Did your sisters have life insurance? No, they didn't. Okay, so who paid for it? You did. Okay, so you don't want to have that happen. You don't want your kids paying for it. Okay, so Brenda, let me ask you, if you didn't wake up this morning and God forbid, but if you didn't wake up this morning, who would you rely on to take care of your final expenses? Your daughter? What's her name? Stephanie. Okay, gotcha. Well, so let's, Brenda, let's go ahead and get this taken care of, because obviously this has been on your mind for a while. You've been thinking about this for a while. I love that. You've been thinking about this for a while, because I'm gonna go get that. I need to think about it out of the way early. So you've been thinking about this for a while. So let's go ahead and take care of this. So, so Brenda, so here's what we're going to do. This is called just final expense or burial insurance. And so first, you can tell by my deep Southern accent that I'm not from around here, right? And so about 4 years ago, I got a call from my daughter and her husband. And Mary Jo and I, you know how you get those calls, you got it on speaker. And so they said, hey, guess what, Mom and Dad, we're pregnant. And you're going to be grandparents. So we finished that call, and my wife said, what do you think about moving to Nashville and just being those grandparents? And so literally, Brenda, 90 days later, we were down here. And I just want to show you this real quick, because Courtney just had a beautiful baby girl. And, my story is my mom passed away my senior year in high school. And my dad didn't have any insurance on her. And so I graduated, that was November, I graduated in May, and he came home that same week and said, hey, I'm selling the house. He needed to get the equity out of the house because he didn't have any money. And I'm moving to Arizona to start a new life, and you can come with me or you can stay here. So literally, Brenda, at age 18, I was homeless because my dad didn't have insurance on my mom. So anyways, her name was Audrey. And so this was Courtney's little baby girl that she just had. Her name is Audrey June O'Daniel. So I am just thrilled. Okay, so why do I do that? Because I want them to know who I am. And Sean Mike says, if you don't share something with them, they'll never share anything with you. And so I throw that out there because it's very personal to me. I talk about it at every client meeting, and it prompts them to interact. So Brenda, here's what we're going to do. So I'm showing them this now, right? I got this there. I'm showing this. So when it comes to final expense, it's really simple, Brenda. Here's all we have to do. I have to ask you 2 sets of questions about your finances, because we got to find something that's affordable, that you're comfortable with. And then I got to ask you some questions about your health, because you got to qualify for these programs. When we're all done, I'm going to show you 3 plans. I'm going to give you 3 options. and you're going to pick the one that works best for you. All right. And I'm going to give you some time to think about it. So you can go ahead and make your decision. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go online. We're going to see if you can qualify for it. We're going to run you through the MIB. And if you qualify, we're going to put a request in for coverage, which means that they're going to see if you're healthy enough to get it. And then coming out of here, the goal is you can sleep tonight knowing you got this taken care of. Fair enough? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to give Brenda, I've already given her my card. There it is. So she's got that. So I'm going to say, Brenda, so to get started, I need to see your ID because I just got to verify your age because it says on here that you're 56. Is that correct? Okay. And so let me see. Okay, this is your full given name. Here's your birthday. And so that puts you at 59 years old. Okay. And Brenda, do you have a spouse or are you a widow? Okay, you're a widow. Okay, perfect. And so you said that you don't have any life insurance, and now so what we've done is I've done me. I told a little bit about me. I've gotten to the root cause of why she needs this insurance. She lost her 2 sisters in spring. She doesn't have any insurance. She's not going to do that to her kids. And then now the next, so number 1, me. Number 2, you. Number 3, the worksheet. So I'm going through the worksheet. You don't have any life insurance. You said that you wanted your daughter. What's your daughter's name? Stephanie Bailey. Okay, perfect. So I got Stephanie. All right. And, let me ask you, Brenda, have you thought about a budget at all in terms of like what you're looking to spend on a monthly basis? You know your budget better than me. Do you have a number in mind? Sometimes they'll give you a number. Sometimes they won't. I'm not really sure what it costs. Most people think that insurance is 5 times more expensive than it really is. But sometimes they'll just say, Neil, I don't want to spend over $180 a month. I'm like, okay, perfect. That just really helps dial in when you give them the 3 options, what options you should give them. So, or I'll say, hey, have you thought about the face amount that you're looking for? You're looking for 10, 15, 20. Everybody has a different opinion on that, but it's good. It's a good question to ask. Okay. So Brenda, in order to get this, you got to qualify. So I'm going to ask you a few qualifying questions about your health. I want you to be honest because we got to put you with a carrier that'll underwrite you. So I want to start with your head. So any Alzheimer's, dementia, or Parkinson's that you're taking medication for? No. Okay. In the last 24 months, any strokes? No. Are you a smoker or non-smoker? You're a non-smoker. Okay, so are you taking any inhalers for your lungs? Any COPD? No. Okay. On your heart, any heart disease, any bypass surgeries, heart attacks, pacemakers, defibrillators, any issues with your heart? No, nothing. Okay, perfect. Any kidney or liver disease or organ transplants? No. Any hepatitis C or HIV? No. Okay. Do you have all your fingers and toes? Any diabetes? Got a little diabetes? Okay. Are you taking any gabapentin or anything? No. Okay, perfect. What are you taking? Insulin or metformin? Oral. Okay, metformin. Perfect. Hey, Brenda, are your legs tired from running from the popo? Any felonies? Are you on parole? Are you an escaped convict? No. Okay. Any DUIs in the last 2 years? Okay. So any other medication you're taking that other than what we talked about for the diabetes? Okay. You have a little bit of high blood pressure. You're taking 1 medication for that. All right. Now notice I'm not writing down any of those meds. I might take some notes to look official. But I don't really write down the meds. It takes too long, and I'm going to run her through the MIB at Americo anyway, so I don't care. It'll do a medication check and tell me if there's any issue. I just want to get at the big rocks. The big rocks are you don't want them to have kidney disease. You don't want them to be on dialysis. You don't want them to have had cancer in the last year. You don't want them to have a heart attack or a stent in the last year. If they have, then I'm going to pivot to AIG. I'm going to write a guaranteed issue, and then I'm going to come back on the 1-year anniversary of when they had that procedure, and I'm going to run them through the Americo MIB and see if I can't get them a level policy. I'll give you an illustration. I went in to see a guy who had a stroke. He was literally, he's in good shape now compared to where he was, but he's got a little bit of paralysis, that kind of thing. So somebody came to see him 6 months after he had the stroke. What do you think they did? They had to write an AIG. It's a guaranteed issue. He can't get any other insurance. Well, now it's 3 years later, and I come and see him. He's let the AIG policy lapse about 3 or 4 months ago. So I run him through the MIB at Americo. Boom, he gets approved. He's not taking really any major medication that set off a red flag. He didn't, he met all the criteria, and so I got him a Americo level policy, or maybe I went through Prosperity. I can't remember which, but it was like $97 a month, and someone came in and quoted him $77 a month, but he had to get a checking account. That's right, it was Prosperity. I got the Direct Express card, put it in, boom, we're done. So sometimes time passes since the last time somebody's been in to write something, and you can write them a level plan. So anyways, where's I going with that? So anyways, so I'm going to go through this underwriting. I'm going to figure out. So Brenda, it sounds like everything is good. We can go ahead and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, just in case there's something hidden. I'm going to go ahead and run you through the MIB. It's the Medical Information Bureau. You have to give permission with a signature because of the HIPAA laws. We're going to go up and check. Just make sure there's nothing up in the MIB that would cause you to get denied from a carrier, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump over to Americo. I'm going to put in 4 screens, my writing number 1, number 2, some information about them, including their address, their social security number. People have no hesitancy when you tee it up this way about giving you your social security number. Then I'm just going to put in 10,000, whatever number, doesn't matter, Eagle Premier, because we're writing final expense here. I need their height and their weight, and whether they're a smoker or not. And then I'm going to go to that 4th page. They're going to sign it with their finger on my iPad. We're going to go up and check. One of 2 things are going to happen. Either one, it's going to come back and it's going to say, based on the prescription check, you could qualify. Okay, could, the lawyers speak. Or number 2, unfortunately, they can't do it. If that happens, I'm pivoting over to Prosperity. Give you a case in point, a guy's got diabetes and he's taking gabapentin, but it's for a back issue. He doesn't have diabetic neuropathy, which is pain and tingling in their extremities. Sometimes that leads to an amputation. But Americo gives you a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and they read that gabapentin with the diabetes as diabetic neuropathy. You jump over to Prosperity, they ask you the question, do you have complications due to diabetes? And it gives you the chance to say no. And when you say no, it approves you for a level plan, which is why Prosperity is awesome. I wish Americo would do the same, but they don't. So for now, we pivot to Prosperity. I don't pivot to Mutual Omaha, and here's an important reason why. You got to go through the whole application, and when you get to the very end, it'll give you the policy number, and then it'll say, unfortunately, your client doesn't qualify, and you just spent a half an hour going through that. This way, Americo, if it's a thumbs down, pivot to Prosperity, write it, and get out of there. Okay, so let's pick it up from that point. Two more questions. Oh gosh, I can't remember what her name was. Anyways, let's call her Brenda. Miss Brenda, so 2 more questions. Number 1, you don't have any life insurance right now in place, right? Correct? Okay, perfect. And then Brenda, do you have anything else that acts like life insurance? 401k, savings in the bank, anything like that? And this is where you're trying to find an annuity. She didn't. Okay, perfect. So I know that she qualifies. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's say she gave me a budget. She was actually a pretty tight budget. A lot of these are 50, 60, 70 bucks a month. So here's what I do. This is a great tip. Number 1, if I'm going to write Americo, and I write Americo not because it's cheapest. The reason I write Americo is because it's important that when you're brand new and you're buying leads, that you can go ahead and write a policy and get paid in 2 days. It's important for your financial security because you're buying leads, you're turning around, you're putting that money back. You got to get paid to pay off that lead bill. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look up, and I'm going to, the maximum you can get 30,000. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to see what 10,000 is. Like if she said, man, my budget's really tight, Neil. I don't know if I can even afford this. Well, I've asked her, I forgot to do this on my example, but I'm going to ask her, are you on Social Security or Social Security disability? And she's going to say Social Security. I'm going to say, okay, what does that run a month? And they'll just tell you. It's $1,325. Okay, so now I know it's a pretty tight budget. She doesn't think she can afford it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see what 10,000 is. Let's say 10,000 is like $52. I'm going to do 15,000 for $72, and I'm going to do 20,000, let's say, for $92. But I'm going to put the maximum of 30,000 on there. And there's an important reason that I'll get to in a second. But so I got my pricing on my worksheet. I got my maximum and my 3 levels. So I'm going to say, you know what? So I've got some ideas for you on what we can do. But before that, let me just go through, because most people don't know this, the 10 points of what our product does. Most people think of life insurance as the stuff they sell on TV. You probably don't know this, but most of the stuff on TV, or if it comes to you through the mail and it's sight unseen, 2-year wait period. The reason they send me in is to do the underwriting so I can get you something that kicks in right away. So number one, our coverage is permanent. It goes to 120 years old. You'll never outlive it. There's a company called Colonial Penn, great company, but they automatically cancel their policies at 79. I've met with a lot of 80-year-olds who are really mad because, do you know what it costs an 80-year-old to get $10,000 of insurance? So this is permanent. You'll never outlive it, unless you're Sarah from the Bible. The death benefit's guaranteed to remain level, meaning if you write a $20,000 policy, you're never going to get a letter saying they're cutting it to 10. The premiums are guaranteed to remain level. So if you're paying $72 a month, it never changes. It's always 72. The price, the product passes on to your daughter that you name, your beneficiary, which would be your daughter. It avoids probate. It's paid direct to her. It's paid out tax-free, so your daughter doesn't have to claim it on her income tax. It doubles for accidental death. In fact, if you walk out to the mailbox, you get hit by a car, and you have a $20,000 policy, it pays you $40,000. If you're on a train or an airplane, you bought a ticket to a commercial vehicle like Amtrak, and that wrecks and you die, it's triple indemnity. 20 pays you 60. So it has now something that most people aren't aware of, living benefits. So let's talk about that. You get cancer, you have heart attack, stroke, a number of things. You get in a bad accident, you break your neck, you break your back, and you are significantly injured. You have people coming in, you can't feed yourself, clothe yourself, bathe yourself. They will take on a $20,000 policy. We take that prognosis from your doctor, we send it in, note from your doctor, and they'll pay out half of that, 50% of that, or $10,000 for your care, and then they'll hold back the other $10,000, for when you perish. It builds a little bit of cash value, so if you change banks, forget to tell the company, they'll go ahead and borrow from the value, and then you pay it back, and it's immediately effective once you're approved. So that's the difference with ours. Okay, I want to make sure they understand the product. If they don't understand the product, then you got issues. You're going to get an I need to think about it. So, Miss Brenda, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give her the pricing, and I always set it up this way. Now, Miss Brenda, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the good, better, best, your job. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think about it. Thank you, Gary Pagese. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think about it. And then you circle the one that works best for you. And remember, my mom used to say when I'd sit down at the dinner table, honey, your eyes are bigger than your stomach. And did you ever hear that? You have, yeah. And what it means is that, you've taken more food than you can eat. And in this business, a lot of people do that with life insurance. So my job is to allow you to sleep through the night knowing you got this taken care of. It's not to freak you out at 4 a.m. going, I wish that guy would have never come here because I cannot afford this, right? Doesn't do you any good if 1 month into it, you cancel the premium. So Miss Brenda, here is So the maximum you can qualify, and I'm required to show you this, the carriers require us to do this. The most you can get from America is 30,000, and at age 50, I think you said you're 58, then that's 191 a month. And then they go, whoa, that is so expensive. Now you've established what expensive is. Now when you go down to your 10, 15, and 20, so Miss Brenda, here are your three options. So this is the face amount, $10,000, and this is the premium. We talked about the face amount never changes, premium never changes. And that's $52.50 a month. The 15,000 is $72.50 a month, and the 20,000 is $92.50 a month. So I'm going to give you some time to think about it, and you just circle the one. I'm going to give her the pen. You just circle the one that works for you. Now, where am I? I'm opening up my iPad. I've already got her approved. I'm starting to do the underwriting because I've already asked her all the questions. So I'm through the complete underwriting. She circles it. I say, Brenda, you sure about that? Is that the one you want to go with? Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do now is now if she says, I want to think about it, I'm just going to say, well, you know, Brenda, what I've done is I've just shopped 30 different carriers for you. So when it comes to pricing, I know I've got a very reasonable price. This is all state regulated. It doesn't vary plus or minus a couple percent. So is it that you're thinking that you want to do that, but you don't have the money in your bank account right now? Is that kind of what you're thinking? It is. Okay. Well, the insurance companies take this into account. And so do you get your check on the first or the third? The third. Okay. Do you know we can schedule this to start on the third if you don't have the money? Is that what it is? Oh, that is what it is. Okay. Yeah, most clients that say I want to think about it, it's really they're thinking, man, I don't have that $72 and I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. So we can take care of that. We can schedule it to start on the third. So you okay with that? Okay, perfect. So I'm writing the app and I'm done. Now for you, the only difference between the way I do it and the way you're going to do it as a new person is when you finish this, before you quote, what you're going to do, you're going to call your manager. You're going to call who, you know, in our case, me or MJ or, you know, with some of the other managers in the organization, you're going to call them and you're going to tell them, and it's a short 2-minute conversation. It's not a lecture. It's a quick conversation. You're going to say, let's say I'm calling myself, hey, Neil, this is Jim, and I'm sitting with Miss Brenda here. And Brenda is 59 years young. She's a non-smoker. She's in really good health. About the only thing that she has going on is she has diabetes. She's taking metformin. Now she's also taking gabapentin, but it's not for diabetic neuropathy. It's actually for a back injury that she suffered at work. She's just, her two sisters passed away and she's looking for coverage. She's got a pretty tight budget. She has about $1,300 in Social Security coming in a month. All right, so Jim, just go ahead and run her through the MIB and then show her the maximum she can qualify for and then quote her 10, 15, and 20. Just see how that works. But show her the 30,000 first so you establish what expensive is. So the 10, 15, or 20 will look a little more reasonable. Okay? All right, Jim. Now, the way you set that up when you call me or MJ, you say, Miss Brenda, I think I know what to do here. I've got a pretty good idea where you're going to fit, but would you mind if I call my senior field underwriter to get a second opinion just to make sure this is the best choice for you? I mean, what's she going to say? Heck yeah, that's a great idea. I'd love for you to get a second opinion. So anyways, we go ahead and that's how you do it. Then when you hang up, you go, that's what I thought, but I just want to double check because this is important that we get you the right coverage. So anyways, and then you're just going to write the app. And when it's approved in the home, now what I do, now you may not do this, but what I do is once I get the policy, I carry this little Americo packet and I pull out my policy summary and I'm going to write down, I showed you this, I'm going to write down all the information. If you want this, just send me an email and I'll email this to you, Neil. And let's see, is my email on here? You can see the spelling of my name. It's Neil M. Brown at Comcast.net, and I'll get that to you. I fill that out, and I'm going to leave that with them, and I'm also going to leave this, which is the details of their policy. And because people are coming behind you, and you want to make sure that you've got it buttoned up. Also, when I'm done is we're going to send them a thank you card for writing a policy with us. So anyways, that's final expense. That's where you're going to start. I'm not going to do mortgage protection. It's a little more complicated, but I think there's a great, this is just a real simple overview. So you, worksheet, call your manager, run them through the MIB, submit the application. It's pretty simple. I want to end on this. You're going to run into obstacles in anything, and in this business, you're going to run into obstacles. There's two types of people that are listening to this video. The one just with their back up against the wall is going to fight, and they're no matter what, they're just going to fight through the difficulty. The other instinct that you're going to have is to run. It's like when you don't know what to do in the home, you either fight or you flight. The people that leave the house never call and then call, it's not what we want to hear, because that's not the right way to do it. You basically have run out of the house. Stay in the house, fight. In this business, stay in the hunt, fight through it. You can learn this. This is not brain surgery. This is really, really simple. It's not deep. People fill out a form, you call them, you book an appointment, you go see them. That's our business. It's not that deep, but it's tremendously rewarding. I want to tell you one last story. I was with a woman. The only time she could meet me is 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. I was out in Dyersburg or some Western county. And so as we got talking, she's working in a liquor store. It's 10 in the morning, man. People are coming. And I'm like, these people know how to party. It's football day, right? So anyways, I said, I went through my thing, and I said, do you have any insurance? Or, I did the three. Either you have no insurance, you have a little bit, you want to add to it. Well, it turns out she had a term policy that terms out in 15 years, and she's paying a couple of $54 a month. And so I talked to her a little bit about it, and through the conversation, I said, why are you looking? Why'd you fill this out? Well, what happened was in May, I'm doing this in December. In May, her youngest daughter, 31 years old, went in to have her third child, got an epidural, and 3 hours later, she was brain dead. It was horrible. And she's telling me the story. And I can hardly hold the tears from coming down my face. It's heartbreaking. 31 years old. I got a daughter that's 33 and a son that's 30. So it really hit home. So it's hard not to be empathetic to your clients, and they really move you. And that's what's so special about our business, is that this is real. This is real life. And, it's not a game. It's real life. And so just get into this and help these families. I ended up writing a permanent product. I wrote a Mutual Omaha IUL, and that's a permanent product. And we were able to get her $50,000. It was twice as much. It was 91. But she's like, there's something to be said about just setting it and forgetting it versus it terming out and having to go through this whole thing down the road again. So, if you will just learn your craft, if you'll just learn to buy leads, get good at buying leads, if you'll get good at preparing for your dial day and just going to town, and it's a thing. Dialing is a thing. You got to just get good at it. If you'll just get all this stuff put together, getting ready to run, don't stretch it out for months and months, just get it done. It takes a day or two to get that. You don't have to have your business cards to go out. Just get what you can get done and get out in the field. And then if you can just interact in a positive way, I always talk about, we either give off really good music or bad music, which is kind of your aura, and it's really positive or it's really negative. People pick up on that. If it's really negative, then you need to, you need to listen to some music that just you really like, not like headbanging music, but something that's really uplifting to change that vibe that you're giving off, because people can read that. You want them to warm up to you, to trust you, to say, this is the guy or girl I want to be my insurance agent and handle this for my family. And so, again, it's not deep. We're helping people solve a problem. And right now, COVID, guys, is, and again, down the road, it may be a memory, but the point is that it's a real thing. It's probably the biggest ad campaign ever in the history of America for life insurance. And right now, everybody's looking for it. So just get busy, learn your craft. If you have questions, just feel free to give me a call, 615-730-2056. Okay. All right, guys, appreciate it. Enjoyed this, and hopefully it helps.